Welcome to today's podcast about stories that inspire us by Hiker Metals. My name is Wim Schalken and I'm the founder and owner of Hiker Metals, and I'll be your host today. Today's inspiring story takes us to the Grand Canyon. It's an amazing place to visit, but most visitors stay above the rim. Of the 5 million visitors last year, only 1% actually hiked below the rim. There are many great trails below the rim that will give you a complete different perspective and appreciation of the canyon when you see all the different rock layers that were formed up to over 1 billion years ago. A very challenging but rewarding hike is the rim to rim. This means that you go all the way to the river, you hike through the so-called box, and then climb out again on the other side. So if you start on the north rim, that means there's a very steep elevation drop of 6,000 feet. And on the south side, a 4,500 elevation gain to get out of the canyon for a total of 23 and a half miles. So it's like climbing a mountain in reverse. And the biggest challenge with that is that going down is optional, going up is mandatory. Today's main guest is actually the world record holder of being the oldest man to hike from rim to rim at the age of 92. So I'm very pleased to welcome Alfredo Aliaga, his daughter Anabel Buchenau, and his son-in-law Jurgen Buchenau. Thank you all so much for being on the show. So Alfredo, if I may start with you, right? The man of the hour. So a bit of introduction. You were born in Spain. You moved to Germany. You have two children. You were married to Ingrid, who unfortunately passed away in 2006 of ALS. And you have 4 grandchildren. Do your grandchildren call you Opa?
Yes, they call me Opa.
I almost want to call you Opa as well, but I'll leave it with Alfredo for now.
It's a nana.
There you go. But it's so great to have you here. And so you have roots in Germany, roots in Spain, and you have a family living in the US. So where's home for you?
I am living officially in Berlin, in the house of my son, who is a medicine in Berlin. But I am very often in Spain, in Madrid, in Zaragoza, and in Granada, where I have families.
Okay, that's great. So then Annabelle and Jurgen, right? So you both also have roots in Germany and both are professors at UNC Charlotte. Is that where you all met?
No, we did meet in the United States. Actually, we met in Chapel Hill, which is not far from Charlotte, where we were both exchange students from Germany.
So you came over as an exchange student and then decided to stay?
Well, it's I met Jurgen and he had been here already for 4 years and was in the middle of his PhD, and I was a lowly little undergrad, and he said, "Oh, if you take graduate classes, it'll be much faster than in Germany. Just do it for 1 year." And now it's been 34. So,
There you go. Awesome. So Jurgen, you are an avid runner. And you've hiked the rim to rim several times, but you also have run marathons. So how would you compare hiking the rim to rim with running a marathon?
So they're very similar in that these are time exercises. Of course, it's different to be in the canyon for 2 or 3 days versus being on the road running for 4 or 5 hours. But I think what they have in common is that you push yourself to your absolute limits. And there are times that you want to give up and where you just have to set one foot in front of the other. The other thing where they're really similar is that as a runner, I'm always really aware of my hydration and nutrition needs. And so my marathon training has really improved my behavior in the canyon because I know that basically eating and drinking enough can literally save your life.
Right. So this has been an amazing story, right? So this all happened in October last year, and it got so much attention, right? So it was on social media, on the news, and that's why I'm so appreciative that you all are willing to come on the show today, because you've done many of these before. So Alfredo, if I may ask you, right? So had you expected this when you got into this type of reaction?
No, I think it is not possible to expect this flow of news in all the media. But I think as I have something to say to the people, I think that is very good that it's happened so.
Yeah. And it was not just afterwards, it was just even when you did the hike, it looked like everybody knew, because it was good that you were not trying to set a time record because everybody wanted to take selfies with you. What was that like?
I think Jurgen can answer this question because he was the organizer of this question. Jurgen?
So, Jurgen, you did all the social media in preparation for the hike itself, right? So, was that the result then that you got so much attention?
Yes, it was, Wim. I'm not much of a person to put myself or people I love on social media a lot, but the government was threatening to shut down. And so we had planned originally to have rangers witness the attempt and basically rely on them, of course, to document the journey so that we could set the record. But then with the impending government shutdown, it wasn't clear whether there would be rangers. I mean, the Arizona state government had announced that they would keep the canyon open, but it wasn't clear that we would have basically documentation from these official sources. And so because we're on two Facebook groups of Rim to Rim enthusiasts, I decided to ask for help there. And so the response was overwhelming. There were a lot of people who were, of course, really excited to help this old guy across the canyon. And then one in particular not only volunteered to witness the attempt, but also to walk with us. And he brought his friend. So Julian Coyner and Peter Todd responded to us that way. And from there, of course, we posted and they posted the results. And it's just been an absolutely viral experience, but not one that we had really anticipated initially.
Yeah, go ahead.
You though, because what you asked about was what it was like on the trail. And I have to say that you were right. We could not just walk. We were constantly stopped. People would say, "Oh, you're the guy. You're the world record guy. You're Alfredo." And then they would say, "Can we take a selfie with you? Can we shake your hand? It's such an honor. What's your secret?" The firefighters from Tucson, Arizona, stopped him and they made him an honorary firefighter and brought a patch of the firefighters that they gave to him. So they had prepared for this trip to bring the patch, to give it to the guy in case they maybe ran into him. And so that's what it was like. It was unbelievable. And Jurgen talked about marathons. And, you know, when you have the people on the side of the street cheering you on, that makes you faster, makes you able to go more further. And that was the same thing. It was just so overwhelming and such a community of people. Oh, there's the patch.
There's the patch. It's official. But that's amazing though. You do have to realize though, when you go back now, you will have this all the time because people, I think, will recognize you right away. So be ready, right, Alfredo?
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe Anabel, for you, right? So how has this been for your family?
Oh my gosh, it's been such an inspiration. It's so much fun and it's so amazing to see and to learn from my dad, but how to be old really and what you can and what you can do if you try and set your mind to it. The other thing is that this overwhelming sense of how amazing the world is and how kind people are. I told you about that response of the people on the trail, but I have to mention you, and viewers, please look at behind Wim over there. You see all the hiker medals. It's hiker medals made by hikers for hikers. And I think that's a key, that a hiker, somebody like Wim, clearly understands what a big deal this is. And so he contacted my husband, Jurgen, and said, I want to send you this. And so Jurgen and Wim worked together, and it's engraved on the back, this medal that says in Spanish that he's the oldest man to cross the canyon. And so Jurgen hid it. He didn't tell anyone. And he brought it out in those last seconds when my dad says, we did it, we made it. And there's like hundreds of people standing there cheering for him. And so my husband pulls out this medal and puts it around his neck. And it was so amazing to mark that moment, because the World Guinness, you get a certificate, but that comes months later, and there you see the medal. And that was so fun. And so only a hiker like Wim, who makes these, could understand what it means for a hiker to get something like that. I had to point that out.
Yeah, I love hearing that. Thank you so much. And it was indeed because I saw Jurgen post and I saw that I couldn't believe it. We've hiked the Grand Canyon, but we took the easy way, right? So on the south side, you go all the way down and you go back up on the same side. Logistically, it's very easy, but you miss a lot of miles that way. It's beautiful, though. It's absolutely gorgeous. So when I heard that Alfredo was going to do this at the age of 92, I couldn't believe it. So Alfredo, back to you, right? So that is quite an adventure. How do you prepare for something like this?
Okay, first I want to say, in this moment, I didn't know what was this medal. I did not know nothing. In the moment where you were born, Wim Schalken. Okay, okay, that was, I had prepared in Spain and in Berlin to walking a little each day, about 8 miles with the stocks, always with the stocks, 8 miles, but in parts very flat. Have no mountains. But each day I have made 8 miles in slowly in 3 hours. And that was all. I make also half an hour or a little longer exercise when I stay in the morning, 7:30, and this is all I have done for the Grand Canyon.
And this was not the first time for you to go to the Grand Canyon, right? So
No.
how often have you been there?
I don't know exactly, but maybe 7, 8 times being there. So, with my wife Ingrid, you have mentioned it here, and then later on when she died in 2006, then the first thing I did when I could go, because I was at the end of my strongness after having 1.5 years taking care of her. And always in my house in Germany, and so yeah, and then I went with Anabel and her son Nicholas, who was 9 years old boy. We went to the Grand Canyon and went down, and that was the first thing was the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, it's an amazing place to visit, right?
Yes, I think
Yes.
so. Yes.
Yeah. So, and then Annabelle, so this all happened October 14, 15, right? So it's a 2-day effort. Can you maybe take us through the logistics? What route did you all take? Where did you start and where?
We started on the North Rim. We were really lucky to get a room in the lodge because, it's really hard if you have to drive to the North Rim and then start, because we started at 6 in the morning. And it took us 11 hours, 15 minutes to Phantom Ranch. So it's, as you mentioned, it's a really, really steep way down and until you get to about Cottonwood. That's the one campground on that side. After about 6 hours. And then you have about 5 more hours of relatively less elevation loss and go through the box. So that was a long day. And then, fortunately, everybody who knows the Grand Canyon at Phantom Ranch, you get lemonade and food, and you sleep and you recover some. And then the next morning, we even had breakfast, and then we left at 6 again, and it took us exactly 10 hours up. So pretty slow. You go through Havasupai Gardens, so that's where the next campground is. So you make a big rest stop there. And then you end up on the South Rim, and then you've really made it rim to rim. So it's it's a total of, actual walking, 21 hours and 15 minutes. So the actual hike was that long. And, I think your normal speed is about 1.5 miles an hour. So it's pretty slow because it's very steep and there's huge stairs built in with, wooden rocks. So it just takes time.
Yeah. And Alfredo, so my joints just hurt thinking about it, right? So, and it's not just physical, it's also mental because it's a long way up and being at the bottom and seeing where you have to go, right, in order to get out. Was there ever a moment that you doubted yourself? What am I doing?
Never, never. I have the best equipped with me, Anabel, Jurgen, and both of the witnesses. But I have difficulties, and the very big difficulty I have it is when I am in the Grand Canyon. I always look to the strata, to the geology, the faults, the things, geological things. But this time, all the time, I could look to my bolts and the stones at the trail. I was scared if I fall, then I am Deutsch.
Yeah.
Just
Okay. Yeah, and also a lot of people will disappointed because we have not make all the what we wanted. That was the most difficult thing I have doing the rim to rim in the Grand Canyon.
So, Jürgen, it must have also a lot of sense of responsibility, right? The group was so for the three of you, for two more, right? So it's five people total. There's a lot of responsibility, I can imagine, making sure this was going to happen right. Because it's not, honestly, the Bright Angel Trail is one of the most dangerous hikes in the world. Not necessarily because of its steepness, but just because so many people are unprepared, right? So, did you feel that burden, Jürgen?
Yes, I certainly did. I mean, this time and the other times that we've done the hike or even the rim to river to rim, because it doesn't take much to have something bad happen. I mean, even if you're prepared, it's just really easy to sprain an ankle or break a leg. Or one year we went down with a person who was unprepared and we had to turn around. And thank goodness we did. But the fact is that accidents do happen. So even with great preparation, those can occur. I was, of course, relieved that we had Julian and Peter with us, who'd both done this before, and Julian with his 50 times. I mean, that was particularly reassuring. But I'm aware that it's not enough for you to be good. You also have to be lucky to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes a small step, right, and then something can happen. But so great, you all came out so well, and it went so well. And Jorgen, one more thing about the world record, right? Because you mentioned you needed to have two witnesses. Because it took a few months, I believe, after completing the hike to get it officially recognized. What do you need to do to make that official?
Well, first of all, you would have to apply to Guinness, basically, to set the record and to have it documented. And one really needs to apply 90 days before or even previously, because it takes them a long time to get it set up. And the reason why it does is that there's a premium application, which costs a lot of money. That's faster. But basically, if you have the benefit of planning ahead, then you should do it ideally about 6 months out. And of course, they then send you a very lengthy catalog of requirements, and which I downloaded. And Anabel was the one who was our archivist, the keeper of all the requirements. I think we ended up having a Dropbox bigger than anything I've ever seen in terms of the number of files and data. And then on the back end, of course, they have to review it. And in our case, what we found out about the record pretty quickly, but they actually wanted to do a media story. And so they asked us not to publicize that the record had been set until they were able to do it. And so that was the reason why it was a few months before it was officially announced.
That is amazing, though, right? So the Guinness Book of Records is so impressed they wanted to do a media story about this. That's awesome. Because I remember growing up, right? The Guinness Book of Records was a book that came out annually, and you would get it for your birthday, right? I don't think the book exists. It's now, of course, it's all online, but it's so much fun to see it. Annabelle?
Yeah, it does. It does exist. It does exist. It comes out. So for the 2024 book came out in December of 23, and so Alfredo will be in the book that comes out this year, at the end of this year. And you're right. They have this whole online presence and their website and so on. But that physical book that my child had every year when he was growing up still exists, and now Opa is going to be in it.
That is awesome. So I hope my wife is listening. So I have my first item for my Christmas list. That is very cool. So Alfredo, you just mentioned, so you are a geologist. So I can imagine the Grand Canyon must be amazing to be there, right? So is there a spot in the Grand Canyon that is so special to you that we all should pay extra attention to next time we're there?
Wim, I admire you a lot, but I don't answer this question. Let the Grand Canyon answer your question. The Grand Canyon talk to to all the people because there is a world wonder. It is the geology of the Grand Canyon. It is something which is quite open to all the eyes who are looking to it. If you are in the Alps, in the Pyrenees, on the Himalaya and Nepal, you see almost nothing geological because it's all very complicated. But in the Grand Canyon, you see all the things are in a exposition.
Yeah.
So you can see everything quite clear. So the Grand Canyon answer, come to me and admire me because I am the one wonder of this world.
I think you should become a tour guide in the Grand Canyon. That may be another world record you can do.
Yes, I don't know. I don't know. No.
So you
What
have
one?
visited, yeah, you have visited so many places in the world. I know you've been to Machu Picchu, you've been to Everest Base Camp.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and what is the most special place for you in the world?
Grand Canyon.
Oh, it is the Grand Canyon. Yeah, yeah. And I do want to
Grand
say,
Canyon.
right, so many people visit it, but if you've visited and you have not gone below the rim, then you're missing out. Really, people should go below. You don't have to go all the way down. You don't have to go rim to rim, but go below the rim and see, experience. It's a different world, right, Annabelle?
Quite right. So.
Yeah.
Yes, it changes you. It changes your perspective. It changes how you see your daily problems. It changes. You just feel so small compared to this unbelievable, overwhelming nature, and so it's worth stepping below the rim.
Yeah. Annabelle, so what has it been like for you to see your dad thrive at his age?
Well, it's two things. One is, of course, incredible happiness that you have to have a parent who, still loves life like that. But then also, he's teaching us how to get old, and he's teaching us, okay, you do these things to remain healthy, and if you focus on those things, then you can actually continue doing things, and this, it takes some of that fear of growing old away. It really does. And so it's been a total inspiration for us.
That's wonderful. Jurgen, this was an amazing adventure. I believe you just came back from the Grand Canyon. Is there what's next? Is there another plan to go, or maybe to set another record at 93, or what's going to happen?
Well, I think there are lots of plans. Yes, I just returned to the Grand Canyon and I saw it in the snow and hiked in the snow. So that was very exciting. That was the first trip for me. We will all return to the Grand Canyon with our daughter, who has never been to the river, and try to do that in 4 days. So basically, stopping at Havasupai twice, ideally on the way up and down. In October, I've gotten the use of a 10-person cabin for at Phantom Ranch for two nights. And so we would like to do this again, but take not only Anabel and myself, but also our daughter and also Simon and his family. And if he wants to, even our son, possibly. So there's even enough room for that. And so that's definitely a plan that we have for October. And yes, that would be a rim to rim, but probably more extended with some more rest breaks in the middle. And then I really want to do rim to rim to rim. I think when we do that, I want to walk back to the rim where we started.
Me with you. Rim to rim to rim.
There you go.
Come with me.
Yeah, you're never too old, clearly.
No.
Yeah. Alfredo, I want to say, right, this has been such a special experience. I mean, I was so happy that I knew about it in advance. It was wonderful to follow you during the weekends, but getting to know you afterwards and in this conversation has been a real blessing. It's so wonderful, and all of you, right? You've been really wonderful to talk. But I think we all want to be like Alfredo when we grow up. So Alfredo, do you have, us mortals, do you have any advice for us?
The frequent question people in the Grand Canyon ask me, "Are you Alfredo? What have you done? You make this rim to rim, and you are 92 years old. What have you done in your life? Is it the genes or no? Not the genes, because nobody in my family was 80 years old. But maybe I can say to you that I have, since a lot of years, make always 3 steps to go stronger. And this is for me something what I have done many years, and I think this have me the strongness to do this rim to rim, and these three things. But I do what I do is the first one is trying always to eat healthy food and drink water with it. The second, walk each day of your life. 30 minutes is enough, but if you have more time, walk longer. And the third, maybe the most important, is sleep in the dark of the night, always with discipline, the same time to bed and the same time to go out of the bed. I do it 11 o'clock each day, and in the morning 7:30.
I want to thank all three of you. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today. It was really a true pleasure. We'll keep following you, the adventures, see if there's more world records coming out of this. But just following you is going to be wonderful to stay in touch. So thank you all three so much. I really appreciate it.